voiceover, and we are from VO Journey Academy and all that jazz.
Mhm.
Welcome, happy what is today? Thursday?
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. And
Mhm.
we are. Oh, my phone is going off. Isn't that funny?
Really annoying.
So, just a quick note if you are new here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please leave us a comment. Tell us where you're from, what your favorite food is. No, I'm kidding. That'd be interesting. And don't be afraid to leave a comment in the chat for a question you might have for voiceover. We love to answer them.
Yeah,
It is our favorite thing to do.
indeed.
So today, what are we talking about today? What are we talking
We're
about today,
we're g-
Gabby?
what's in a name, Anthony? What's in a name?
What's in a name? Very
Right.
philosophical.
I know. I know.
Yes, 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 yes.
Got asked a question yesterday about and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly how this person worded it, but about business names basically, and I think that is an interesting topic that's not given enough attention,
Hmm.
right? What do we do? Do we name our business, do we name it just after ourselves? Do we give it a more fanciful title? Do we, when it comes to, our profiles and our online listings, do we use an alias in areas where we feel like, I don't know, we want to kind of create a separation for our business? There's a lot of different pieces to this. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. When I think a cool thing, maybe how did you? Let me ask you this: when you were coming up, maybe we can start here.
Mm.
When you were coming up with how did your name, your business name, come about? Right, and do you have and here's another question: do you have more than one?
Hmm.
Tell us kind of about how the history of
Yeah.
your business names.
So for me, it was always really simple. I mean, I just used my name for the longest time, right? But um, my business grew to a point. Oh gosh. Well, okay, let me back up a little bit. Gabrielle Nistico using Gabby, voiceover Vixen. I mean, I came up with like really early, so in like the early 2000s. So I had that in place. Um, I didn't trademark it for many, many, many years later. But primarily it was just my name, and then I used, different rosters over the years, and some rosters still, right, they want an alias because they don't want clients to be able to find you on their own. So they
Right.
ask you to use an alternate name. So I have a couple of those that float around in the ether.
Mm.
And I got to a spot in about '08 where I just needed to incorporate. Like, business just got to be too
Yeah.
big. It was larger than me. My
Right.
accountant was like, you're losing out on so many tax breaks. And so, yeah, so when I incorporated, I just wanted to do something that thought about future growth and that encompassed more than just me as a voice actor. And so yeah, so Three Moon Media was
Mm.
born from that, and I didn't do anything with it for a long time. It was just a tax thing. And then it kind of blossomed into my own little mini ad agency slash creative house.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I started when I first started, I just started auditioning and put in my regular social and as most of us do and just which for everybody we automatically default if you just start working and earning money, right? You automatically default to a sole proprietorship as they
Right.
say. All right, under your own social. And at the time, this was before the laws changed. So of course, the laws changed now because at the time you could make, I think it was 4,000. You could make up to 4,000 or something like that before you had to report the money
Yeah.
as earned income, right? Before you
Now
had
it's
to
like
really,
six,
right.
I
Now
think.
it's 400. I believe it's $400. So
Well,
they
no. As a sole proprietor, you can earn like, I think. Oh,
they
you're talking about with 1099s.
I'm just talking about earning. Like if you earn any money at this
Mm,
now, they changed it. They
mm,
changed it a few years ago.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yes. Uh,
Yeesh.
so to get those rich people.
Yeah.
So anyways, Sorry, said $400. So anyway, so I started there, and then it wasn't until kind of like down the road a couple years where I realized, oh, I need to open it. I need to do an LLC, right? I
Mhm,
need
mhm.
to open a business. So I originally when I did everything, I thought, okay, I didn't want to just call it Anthony Pica VO
Mhm.
because I wanted maybe what if down the road I wanted to add something to it.
Mhm.
Even though at the time I didn't have that in, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just thought maybe so. I just simply added Productions LLC, right? So it was Anthony Pica Productions LLC, and that's pretty much stayed the same until one day I decided to start a podcast, and I thought, oh, while I was talking at 3 a.m. in the morning and sounding like I was half drunk and whatever, um, I was like, I'm just gonna talk about, my journey and, because I knew nothing and I couldn't be like, this is what to do, but I'll talk about my journey. And I was like, oh, just a VO's journey. And who in their right mind names anything a VO's journey? And it just, I started saying it over and over again in the podcast, and
But
all of a
that's
sudden,
so funny, it
it
stuck.
it stuck. And when people would talk, they're
Wow.
like, I'm calling about Avos journey, Avos, because like
Oh,
AVO, right? So no
wow.
one knows of VO's
Wow.
journey,
Right,
but I
right,
ended up
right,
saying it
right.
so many times, right?
Right.
The idea seems, it's stuck after a while, which by the way, another branding thing. You say something enough over and over again. Uh, so anyways, but
Truth.
yeah, so that's how it literally came out of me like not even knowing what I was saying at 3 in the morning and thought about my journey.
Wow.
Because I thought I had nothing else. Like I'm not going to educate people on voiceover because I have no idea what I'm talking about yet. But I'll tell you about what I'm going through.
Right, right, right. You were
You know what
just
I mean?
documenting at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
point.
And
Huh.
so that kind of how VO's journey came about, and then it built from there. And then down the road. So I do have Anthony Pica VO, so that's kind of like the voiceover part. A
Mhm.
VO's journey, right, turned into our education wing, right, of
Mhm.
what we do.
Mhm.
And then, later on, more recently in the last couple of years, right, and then more recently in the last year, Academy Voices. And I wanted a name that was okay. So here's some things that changed about names. This is something to think about. So I wanted a shorter name, a name that people could easily, that you could abbreviate easily as well. I wanted something that was maybe easily said, recognizable, something that didn't have my name in it,
Okay.
because I wanted to create something that could potentially be run without me. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Down the road. So that's, and then, you know, also pay somewhat relationship to VO's journey, our academy there.
Right.
Right. So VO's Journey Academy, and so that's how Academy Voices came
Hmm.
about.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that's kind of the. I wish the names were more like, like the heavens open up. Ah, I place the name upon you.
I mean, sometimes that happens though.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does. I think, that's the fun thing about what I do a lot with branding. Like it's so funny that you said it that way because I have bestowed so many names or monikers on voice actors over the years. Like I worked with George Washington III like a million years ago.
Oh
He's
wow.
here in town with me. And we came up with voiceover evolution, and that's been his brand ever
Wow.
since. He still uses it.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of want to see it as like there's you as the individual, then there's the is there a catchy way that you want to be known or be seen? Like my friend Bonnie, uses voiceover superhero. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's another, things like that are just quick and catchy for people to remember. Um, or is it something completely out of left field?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that too. I mean,
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of, a whole nother wing of naming and branding, right? About kind of also shock and awe, or,
mhm,
things where, because, in our day and age, you have to be able to stand out.
yeah.
I chose, so this was my thought process with what I did in my name, because again, I did realize early on this was a dumb idea to name something of VO's journey. But uh I realized that I thought, okay, well, I'm never moving to Hollywood. I'm never going to move to New York. I'm not going to be. I early on I thought I'm not going to be famous.
Mm,
So what could I do in order for people to recognize my name? And I thought, well, this is what I did. I thought if I say it long enough,
yeah.
loud enough, and long enough, eventually people won't be able to ignore it. And
Come on.
I think that kind of happened after a long enough time. I used to get messages from people, my kid, but we were listening, and my little kid in the back today was like, "Hello, welcome to a VO's journey." It was just so funny, right? And it's strange, right? Like it's so odd. It's strange to hear people tell you, like like they're listening to
Yeah.
you, somewhere around the world.
But truly that is what happens. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the culture we live in now. Like
Hmm.
Google is a verb.
It is. It
It's an
is. You're
action.
right.
It's a thing you do. I'm Googling it. Like, no, that's a company. But they made that, right? Any internet browser, anytime you search anything, what are you doing? You're Googling it. It's like
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh,
yeah.
look at Tracy. Tracy says yes, but what color is the stuff you keep stepping in? I love. That's funny. I never. I let's. I don't want to thought. That's funny. I've never even thought
That's
of
really
that
great. That's
about the
really good.
color of the stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Tracy's talking about, of course, they used to open. His Anthony, this Vito's journey, and I help voice actors start a new business, and I like help people, sidestep all the crazy stuff that I seem to step in, and that was for a long time. I just let it over and over again. That's
And
funny.
I think it's Tracy's question, Professor Tracy, that we're answering from
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. So
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, if you want to expand on that anywhere, and like if we've answered this, for you, let us know. We've got some really cool comments. We've somebody from the Caribbean with us today.
That's what
I
I'm
am
talking about.
so jealous. Ugh,
That sounds
so
nice.
jealous.
Cancun.
John says I love this daily stream. Thanks, John. We
Thank
love you
you.
too.
We've got
Um,
Minnesota, Austin.
Austin is always in the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
This is we love doing this. Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely.
We
I
appreciate it.
think okay, so we could further, maybe as Tracy is going to expand for us, we could further talk about also pseudonyms.
Yeah.
As we go through naming things, as we talked about our businesses now,
Mm-hmm.
the pros and cons. Oh, real quick, I did want to ask you something. You
Mm.
mentioned just a moment ago that you trademark. Can you talk a little bit about trademarking your name?
Yeah. So I've seen some crazy stuff in voiceover. And I mean, the reality is not everything we come up with is stupendously unique. There's only
Hmm.
so many, monikers, whatever. So anyway, um, I had been using VoiceOver Vixen for a while. I was fortunate enough that I had started using it early on enough and associating it with my name that I feel like throughout the industry, people knew it was me. I bought the domain name, all that stuff. But I was running into instances where I saw people like hosting an event and saying something about like, oh, the voiceover, join us as we talk to some voiceover vixens, or they would use the term, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. So I looked into it, and I mean, it was like, it wasn't
Mm,
cheap. It wasn't like the most expensive thing I've ever done, but
mm,
it was a couple $1,000s. I had to fill out scores of paperwork
mm,
with the trademark and patent office. And technically, what I have, it's not even a trademark. It's a different terminology for when it's a phrase.
mm.
I forget what it is right now, but like a trademark means it's an image. It has
Hmm.
to be, yeah, it has to
I
be an
got you.
image. Yes.
And that's different, and it's different than a copyright, because remember, copyright technically, I mean, by law, for better or worse, if you produce something, as soon as you
Mm-hmm.
produce it, right, and even if and you share it, that's technically, unless otherwise stated in a contract or whatever, that
Yeah.
automatically kind of turns into a copyright.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as a trademark,
No.
right? Not at all.
No,
Um,
trademark
mhm,
protects me so that nobody else in the industry
right,
can use that term. And I mean, let's be honest, because of the nature, I mean, with the name voiceover right in it, like what other industry could use it?
right,
So
right.
yeah, that's all it really is. It's actually I've had it for, well, here's the creepy thing. It renews every 10 years, and the 10-year mark is coming up. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have to be plunking down some bucks to get that thing renewed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I know we had a situation where bless her heart, we had a voice actress and she had, well, she's still with us, but she was doing audiobooks and she was putting her name down and she was contacted by another voice actress with the same name who told her she couldn't use her name because it was her name.
Mm-hmm.
And but she did not have she didn't have any legal,
Mm-hmm.
saying that you couldn't use your name. And in fact, I don't know if there is something that you can't. Now, she wasn't using, she was just saying like narrated by her
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And that, but so she was, but she did the, I think she was super nice in the fact that she was like, okay, I'll change like my middle initial, I'll do something to make it different from the other
Nice.
woman. But the other woman was being a bully in my opinion.
Mhm.
But that was an interesting
I've seen
scenario.
it though. I've seen some wild stuff. I've seen people get really close in terms of ripping off somebody else's brand. I
Hmm.
have seen the multiple name thing, and what's interesting with that is that's why a lot of actors who are with SAG, you'll see actors who are using three full names or they're using their middle initial.
Right.
It's because somebody else
Right.
already has their name, and SAG almost has its own sort of like like you register your name with
Mm,
SAG and then it
mm,
becomes yours to use, in the future.
right.
So yeah, it sucks if there's another person, you have no choice. You have to come up with an alternative. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So, we could possibly, talk to another time or another session about, like how to begin to put together a LLC and or, the ideas of what you do X, Y, Z. I mean, it's going to be different,
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
law, from state to state and, to incorporate and things like that. But I will tell you this, as we go, it's super important. One thing that I realize is very, very important, is to make sure that you have a business checking account or you have a business account,
Yeah.
right? You want to separate your stuff. And then, so because of that, you need a name, you need to have some sort of filing, whether it's a sole proprietorship or
Hmm.
whether it's an LLC. That question often comes up to, when do you incorporate? Like
Yeah.
what point? Kind of Gabby, I mean,
Well, we can talk. I mean,
yeah.
well, so here, okay, so Tracy did actually reply, and I think this is
Oh,
great.
okay.
She said, there's so many parts for this. If you use your name on paid sites, they can find you other
Mm-hmm.
ways, right? Con would be how you get blacklisted. So I want to answer this one in reverse. Let's
Ooh,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
this
yeah.
blacklisted thing for a minute.
Yes. The scare tactic.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. To be blacklisted is like it implies that other people have nothing else to do with their life but police us, check up on us, look into everything we're like all the time. And talent agents and casting directors and the people that are reported to be doing said blacklisting, they don't have time for this garbage. Um, like come on. It's,
Right.
might a talent agent that is considering working with you do a web search and see where else you are doing work? Yes. If that talent agent has a significant enough issue with a particular platform, they are simply going to tell you, get off that platform. If you want to be on my roster, you can't be there anymore. Now, that being said, when you're at the place of also going after the types of agents that care about that stuff, you're probably not on the lower level platforms
Mm-hmm.
anyway. You're not in
Mm-hmm.
those places, so they're not worried about it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a really good point. I think just over the years that, and I'm kind of intimate with this topic, is that, I find that the only people who really say those things are other voice actors,
it's
some, right?
true.
And I think that I think it stemmed from an article that came out a while ago,
I
back in
know
2015.
it's
And
longer
do you
than that.
remember? And
It's
then,
before then.
oh, was it really even before
I know
then?
exactly what it stemmed from.
Oh,
It
okay.
stemmed from when Voices.com pissed off the whole industry.
Uh,
Voices.com was doing some really like not above board stuff. They were being kind of nefarious in their dealings. They were double dipping. They were doing weird things with how talent were getting
Right.
paid. And everybody in the industry temporarily turned their back on that platform. And a couple of agents said, if you work with these guys, we won't work with you.
Right.
And that sort of perpetuated this
Gotcha.
myth.
Okay.
But it's long since resolved. And
Well, yeah, and I mean, I no,
yeah,
again, like, I think I completely agree with you. I mean, that if you think about the time someone would have to spend
like,
to go around and to keep some sort of list, and on top of that, no offense to those people, but those people who are keeping this list are so important that they hold some sort of keys to everything in the world. No, that
mm-mm,
person does not exist.
mm-mm,
You know what I mean? So I mean,
yeah.
like yeah, it was definitely, but it is sadly still happening where people are saying these things.
It is. We see it a lot, and I'm really surprised by it when I do see that. So yeah, I would say let's not worry about that so much. And if you do have a concern, okay,
Mm.
here's the reality. Yes, this is where an alias can be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
If for whatever reason you have a doubt or a concern about using your name in a place that you don't want to show up, use a fake name.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's how simple that is because then it can't be searched back to you on the web because they don't know who the check's getting made to. It's fine.
Make a
Um
little bumper sticker that says "Anonymity is a warm blanket."
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right.
Now, the pro side, right? I mean, what is the pro side? I mean, like people don't care. I mean, I don't feel like,
I
people.
will say this though, and I will say this and leave with this because as time's gone on, and I eventually in my business I had to come to a decision myself.
Mm,
Right? Is there, if you are doing something, this was my litmus test, and you feel a little embarrassed about even sending an email to someone with the
mm,
prices that you're charging and things like that, you know what I mean? There's it's just, it's okay to start to make different decisions in your business moving forward. I think that that's, we all change and we grow. So I guess what I'm saying
that's a
is too
good
is don't
point.
be afraid to, change a little bit, and I guess what is it? What's the word when you're growing and changing? It's
Evolving.
thank you. It's evolving, and that's okay too.
But
But
that's
I early on, I didn't know how to
well,
reach out directly to
yeah.
clients, and
It's a
and I felt
good
like, why would I
point.
reach out to a client and say, hey, this is what I charge, and I felt like it wasn't even worth the email I was sending,
But you're right though.
and
If there's an element of your business that's making
makes
you,
you think.
yeah, kind of cringe or oh, this is a good one. If you feel like you're apologizing, if you feel like you're apologizing for
Mm,
like then don't do like it means there's something wrong. Like
mm-hmm,
fix it, address
mm-hmm,
the thing
mm-hmm.
because you shouldn't be like going, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sending you this demo. I know it's like 5 years old, but no, just don't do that. Fix the
Oh yeah.
demo."
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
one thing, and this is funny because you were talking about, the name
Mm-hmm.
and Vio's journey, and I've seen in the past too where a lot of voiceover stuff, especially with like podcasts and things, because we use VO instead of voiceover, the 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 Siri and Google and all the other, they don't know how to say it, so
No.
they say vo,
Mm-hmm.
which is always really kind of amusing to me.
Oh yeah, and that's
Yeah,
why they would say Avos,
yeah,
Avos
yeah,
journey. What is
yeah.
Avos journey? I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
always
it's a
kind of funny.
VO. It's a thing,
It's
people.
a
It's a
thing.
thing.
It's a thing. Oh,
Well,
jeez.
listen,
All
everybody. Thank you so much. I think it's a great topic today, and your name in the end, is uniquely yours.
for
So
sure.
I think do something that you enjoy as well. I will say this: it's a
Make
very nice.
sure it is a URL if you
But I was
haven't
just gonna say that's so funny.
already.
I was just gonna say that. Make sure, right, whatever you do, you want to get the URL. You want to have a
Mhm.
consistency. I have seen people do a name. I mean, a name over here, a name over here, a name over here, a name over here. And yes, it's okay to have a pseudonym like we're talking about,
Mhm.
but a lot of these people are doing it not on purpose, right? They're
Mhm.
doing it, and you can't ever you can't find them anywhere, but they're not trying to do it that way. I guess what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. So you got to
Mhm.
make sure if you are trying to be consistent, make sure you're consistent and not add a different name somewhere. To keep that consistency, especially online. But unless you're trying to be, unless you're trying to use a pseudonym,
That makes
that
sense.
makes sense.
Yep.
All right, gang. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll be back tomorrow,
We'll see
hopefully.
you later. Yeah.
Yep. Hopefully, we'll have open forum Friday.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you. All right, we are stopping.